I can't tell you how many times I've done the intro of this video, so I'm just gonna try to do it and then move past it. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time stopping by, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also, turn on the notification bell so that you get a notification when I post a video. What the hell is that accent? Okay, so we're gonna start over, okay? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time stopping by, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Also, turn on the notification bell so that you know when I post a new video. In today's video, we're going to be doing a two-part makeup and outfit video. I'm going to be showing you how I did this makeup, acne covering, waterproof, but also Valentine's Day sultry makeup that makes, you feel and look good. And also your man feel and look good to have you beside him, period. It's a step-by-step process, and trust me, it is a trusted process. Makeup look, but you're gonna get all of the details within the video. They will not be in the description box, so you will have to watch the video to know what I'm talking about. A big part of Valentine's Day fit is your perfume and how you smell. You want to smell enticing, both for yourself and for the people around you. So I want to say a big thank you to our sponsors today, Dossier. They are a perfume brand. They make a lot of dupes to your favorite scents, and you can get them at very cheap. I know I have a discount code. I don't remember what it is, but once I figure it out, it'll be down in the description box for you to use it at checkout to purchase your perfume. They sent me a couple boxes, actually more than a couple boxes, to try on. And my favorite scent is the Woody Sandalwood. The Woody Sandalwood is said to have in its top notes violet leaves, cardamom. In the middle notes, it has orris, ambrox, cedarwood, and cypriol. In the base notes, it has musk, sandalwood, and amber. Sandalwood is one of my favorite scents in any perfume. I love how it makes it very classy, very, it's not too sharp. You smell nice, but you also smell cultured, you smell well-mannered, you smell like you're about to take over.
Don't worry, I'm about to take over.
I like how mixing vanilla into a scent, and sandalwood does that for me. Now, I'm not a perfume buff, but I do buy a lot of perfumes, but I'm not into it too much to be like the perfume influencers, for what it's worth. Alongside the Woody Sandalwood, I was sent this fragrance, Aquatic Vanilla. Like I said, sandalwood vanilla. This fragrance has its top notes as marine notes, red fruits, and rose. Middle notes as vanilla, orchid, and coconut. Base notes as musk, sandalwood, and benzoin. Now, I'm not gonna lie, when I saw the rose and vanilla, I was thrown a bit off because only very few perfumes can pull off those notes together. And smelling it, it did smell nice, but my personal favorite is the Woody Sandalwood. I really love that one, actually, and everybody around me loved it. I had my friend and her entire family try it and want the perfume. So hurry up to their website, hurry up to their Instagram page, go to one of their posts and comments, Zaahav. Just let them know that you're from me. Their perfumes are really, really affordable. They range from $20-something Canadian to about 60-something. That is dirt cheap in my opinion, because considering the cost of the actual perfume that they're dupes of, yeah, I think it's dirt cheap. Now, I couldn't pinpoint because I haven't used the original of the Woody Sandalwood, so I couldn't pinpoint the actual fragrance, and I'm an oud girl, but I could definitely use this perfume for sure. I definitely have used it once or twice, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, that's it from our sponsors. In case you hear my voice going up and down, it's because I have a really bad cold and I've been coughing, and I had to film this entire video, pause, cough. I'm gonna try to edit all of my cough and sneezes like that. And I'm gonna try to edit all of my coughs and my sneezes away from the video. But without further ado, let's get straight into the video. I feel like Valentine's Day should be sultry, and when I imagine sultry, I don't imagine matte. But that's gonna be a challenge because all of my makeup is matte. Literally everything is matte except for one setting spray that I have that's supposed to have a natural finish. Now, I don't know how I'm gonna finesse that, but that's gonna be a real challenge because I should have gone to Sephora before filming this video, but I didn't because first of all, it's a work day, so I was working throughout the day, and it's 8:58 p.m. right now. And yeah, Sephora's probably closed. If I leave right now, I won't get there for another 20 minutes and it'll be closed. So I decided to finesse what's in my makeup box, so that's what we're gonna use. So this video will be a 3-part video where it'll be makeup, hair, and outfit. But first it's gonna be the makeup, all right? Let's skadoodle. away from all of this rambling and get right into the video. First of all, skadoodle, what the? So first of all, I'm using the Makeup Forever Shine Control Primer. I usually would mix this primer with my Makeup Forever Pore Control Primer, if only I could find it. You know what? Give me a second. I'm gonna find it actually. Okay, found it. So I usually would double up on these two. This is a pore minimizer and this is shine control. This is more mattifying. This one is more mattifying. This one minimizes pores. Now let me tell y'all why I would mix them. I mix them because, well, I want a more natural finish. And because sometimes I could get oily around my T-zone, I kind of like to use the shine control about here and here, and the rest of my face dries out a lot. So that's what I'll usually do. But today I'm gonna mix them in. Don't ask me why. I've tried it one time before and it worked. So we're gonna try it again. But I use less of the shine control one and more of the pore minimizer one. So, okay, so next I am going in with the pore minimizer primer. Even like, one day it kind of like worked for me. So what had happened was, sorry, I'm trying to look at the thing to do my primer. I'm trying to look at a mirror to do my primer. But anyway, so what had happened was I was about to go out and I hadn't put on makeup in a long time, and I didn't realize that my primer, the shine control one, had finished, right? Or it was almost finished. And so I put on the primer and I used it to do my makeup for that day, and then I went to Sephora, and the specific Sephora that I went to didn't have any more. Now remember, the shine control one was almost finished, but I didn't realize that it wouldn't last me, like it would last me for just that day, but not enough for like maybe a couple more days after. So besides, I was gonna go to Sephora, so I didn't think that, you know, that would be an issue. So I go to Sephora and they don't have the shine control one anymore. Now you can imagine how much of a bummer that was. It was terrible. So I got the pore minimizer one, right, from Sephora. So I'm thinking my shine control one is gonna last me for my next makeup until I can go to a different Sephora when next I go out. And so I have to put on makeup. I think I'm going to a dinner or something. And the shine control one is like barely even a pea size. Actually, no, it's way more than that. But I do tend to use way more than a pea size of primer. And so I tried the pore minimizer one on top of that. And I realized that my makeup lasted a little bit longer and looked a little bit smoother. And I was like, that's an idea. So that's when I started like combining both primers. I usually would like let it sit for a little bit, but I have my handy fan here, so I'm gonna just use that all over my face to help it to dry down a little bit more. I am again going in with Makeup Forever. As you can see, I'm a huge fan. This was more my color. This is the 3Y56 for the HD Skin Foundation, and this is 4Y66 HD Skin Foundation as well. I am closer to this shade. Like, there's no shade in between that suits my skin when I'm tan in the summer, so I usually buy this one because I like the undertone better. Whereas this, I am more in the winter. Still have some tan because I'm out in the sun a lot lately. It has been sunny for the last, I want to say, a week or two. So I've been using a mix of both, more of this, and then since this is a lighter shade, and a little bit of this to kind of like dim it down. I do like a lot of coverage, but I'm trying to do more of a natural finish. Again, I said it was going to be a challenge. It is going to be a challenge because I'm full coverage. I'm a full coverage girly, especially with all my acne scars. So we are going to do full coverage, but then there's a trick to, like, I guess make it more natural, but you kind of have to do your makeup like way ahead of time, like way before you go out. All right, you have to, if you have to go out at 6, you have to be done with your makeup at 4:45 at the very most. All right. So I'm just gonna put on foundation. Um, and so just 3 pumps of that. I know a lot of people will use less pumps, but again, I have acne scarring. I don't use color corrector because, well, my acne scarring is it has the same undertone as my skin. So like it would be a darker version of me, whereas some people have like, cool undertones in their scars and then their face is like a warm. My acne scars are almost, they have a yellow undertone. I know it sounds weird, but just go with it, right? Okay, so I do like to go a little bit darker on my face, especially when I'm trying to cover my acne scars. As you can see, it, it's already like covering. Don't worry, y'all. I don't know. I think color correcting is a little bit too much for me. I don't know. I'm gonna have to leave it that one to the professionals. That one's way above my pay grade. As y'all can see, it's like almost covered already. So Makeup Forever, it is thick. It is very full coverage. So I'm a full coverage girly and a matte girly. So, but I've been gearing more towards like a natural finish these days. These days. So, could I still call myself a full coverage girly? I think not. I think not. But I would usually go over my face again with another very thin layer of foundation. But today, now let me teach y'all something. Today we're gonna do a tiny layer of contour with a concealer and then go over it with foundation is what I'm gonna do. All right, using a concealer. It's the Huda Beauty concealer in 1332. I don't think that's the concealer name, but it's called Maple Syrup. Ooh, it sounds very Canadian. Go over this. Go here again. I'm gonna double up on that action. Some people tend to like put it here, like closer to here, but I tend to like, you see how like when I suck my teeth in, like where the skin curves underneath the bone, that's where I would usually contour. I don't put it like over the actual bone, more so like underneath. Yeah, so that's exactly where it's gonna go, and then I'm gonna blend right along that spot. Now that that's all blended out, we can go over it with another layer of foundation. And now I'm going to take my actual winter shade and just go over it. And I know you're wondering how all of this is gonna look natural at the end. Again, trust the process. Also, I do want to answer a few questions that's been on everybody's mind. I have a skin condition, well, not a skin condition actually, an autoimmune condition called dermatomyositis. I do have it alongside lupus. I was diagnosed in 2020. So when everybody was discovering COVID, I was discovering that I had an autoimmune disease. It was very, very nerve-wracking, and as you probably know, I stopped filming around 2020. It is because of that. Well, mainly because of that. There's some other reasons, and I'll make a whole video about that. So the dermatomyositis, first presents itself by like swelling of your joints, so knuckles, elbows, knees, most of your joints really. So for me, it presented in like my knuckles, elbows, and knees. And so how it presents and what that simply means is that it presented as a swelling in those areas, right? Predominantly my knuckles. So I just thought I had darker knuckles, especially being in Canada and not really knowing what my skin was like. I just thought that, okay, I'm getting dark knuckles, but I didn't realize that, thinking rather that getting dark knuckles because my skin was getting a little bit lighter in the winter and darker in the summer. So instead of, going to a dermatologist, I went to buy stuff from this lady on Instagram, which basically destroyed my skin, right? So I bought it from this lady called, you know what? I'm not trying to bash anyone, so I'm just gonna skedaddle over that. skedaddle's gonna be a word on this channel apparently. So I bought some stuff from her. Before we continue, I'm using the Revlon Color Stay Brow Pencil in the shade Soft Brown, which is 210. It also has a spoolie, so I'm gonna interchange between that. And so I bought some stuff from this lady to basically help cure, or yeah, let's just say cure for the purpose of it, cure the dark knuckles, right? But instead of curing the dark knuckles, it made it worse. And I think it made it worse because, well, you know, it wasn't just dark knuckles. I did have an underlying skin condition, but at the time I didn't know. So I'm just doing the ends of my brows, just like completing them, so that like I kind of like the way my brows are shaped. I like how like high it is. So anyway, this lady, she sold me some knuckle stuff, which essentially made my skin worse. Almost like it was, you know, the way urea cream works. Like, and the reason why I know this is because like the dermatologist eventually prescribed this. So urea cream allows your skin to soak in moisture, or basically it retains moisture in your skin. How your skin reacts to that is it swells and swells and swells until it peels off the first layer. So it kind of acted like urea, but like worse. And so that's how my knuckles got even worse, right? I'm just brushing my eyebrows with the spoolie to like blend it in. So mind you, my knuckles were swelling due to my condition, but I didn't know, right? So I tried this lady, it got worse, and she just kept saying, you know, just continue, it'll get better. And then I bought some stuff off of Etsy, and it just kept getting worse. So at this time, I finally got some wisdom and went to the dermatologist. So I went to see a dermatologist in no, that's not what it was. I went to see a dermatologist initially who like didn't prescribe anything. So now I'm going in with my NARS concealer in the shade Walnut, which is a medium dark. But yeah, I go to a dermatologist and they basically prescribe me like a very low potent steroid cream, you know. So I put that on for like maybe 2 to 3 months. It barely does anything, and my skin is, it basically looks worse. So I go to another dermatologist, and I remember this one vividly because I remember I had this cream for a little while. And I go to another dermatologist, and they prescribe me something called Betamidazole. But you know what? It's a beta. It's a little bit stronger than the last one because obviously I tell the second dermatologist that someone's prescribed me something else, and so they give me something that's a little bit stronger. I mean, I guess that's what they think they should do, so they did it, right? Okay, so I'm back from doing my brows. So what I did was I used the concealer under and over my brows, and basically to get a more natural and less chiseled look to my eyebrows, I'm just brushing. I already started off camera. I'm just like brushing the hair out. So for eyeshadow, I'm using the Morphe 15D eyeshadow palette. I'm not gonna use a lot of eyeshadow because it's supposed to look natural. So I'm gonna use like anything like that's like bronzy and like goldy. Maybe a little bit of like a shimmer burned orange. Back to my story. Now, mind you, in order to see these dermatologists, I had to go to a clinic first, get a referral, and then go to another dermatologist. So time was like flying by. So this condition started to show symptoms around COVID. So I'd say like, not February because I was in Dubai around then. So I'd say like towards the end of like March. At the time I see the second dermatologist is probably like July. I use whatever they give me for like 2 months, doesn't work. I go to Florida. I remember this vividly because I go to Florida and I come back, and so I'm ready to see a different dermatologist. Luckily for me, this guy had some opening, and this is the guy who actually like helped me discover what was going on. Because I'm not trying to do too much on my eyes, I'm not setting my eye with an eye primer. Again, I want it to look as natural as possible. So this guy basically tells me that, you know what, he thinks he knows what's going on, but he wants to send me for like an all-round test. Now, mind you, I'm thinking to myself, like, what am I doing testing for? That's all that's going into my head. Like, it's showing symptoms, give me medication. The symptoms were showing on my knuckles predominantly, but they were also showing on my joints. But I didn't clock that until he like did physical examination, and my joints were visibly swollen without me realizing. Okay, so he sends me for testing, but also gives me the higher potency of the steroid creams that I was previously given. But I'm like, riddle me this. I'm gonna go do the testing and see what it says. What could you discover inside of me? I was so ignorant. He sends me for a test. I go do the testing, and when the results come back, I get a call, and they basically call me to come back into the office to see the doctor. And it's this the doctor, I'm trying to remember where he's from because I appreciate how thorough he was with this. Like, he was like super thorough. Oh, so if you're trying to keep up, I'm basically just trying to soften the dark shade. I used a more precise brush to like put it on my eye, and then I blended it out with a buffer brush, and now I'm just using this like really fluffy brush to apply a lighter shade over it. Anyway, so I go back into the office, and he basically tells me that I have a lot of antibodies, and so he's gonna refer me to a rheumatologist. At this point, I'm like, what? And the rheumatologist sees me, does some physical examination. So he's like, I'm gonna send you for more tests because obviously I haven't been through enough. So I'm taking the glow shade like I thought, and let me try that over. So the first doctor that sends me to the rheumatologist, I don't remember his name now, but I just know that I ended up like really appreciating him. And I'm just going over that shade with the Bronze Beauty shade. I don't know, the shade called to me, I answered. We'll go with it. So I'm going right over the top of the previous shade that I should do more testing. Anyway, so his reasoning is, I'm not gonna knock it on him, but his reasoning is I'm too young to have whatever they think I have. And so he's almost knocking the intelligence of the guy who sent me to him. He's like, but why would he send you to him? You don't fit the age criteria. So why would he suspect, right? So he's thinking maybe that guy is wrong, so he sends me for more testing. But by the second time I see him, I understand why he's thinking like that. On a second note, I am going a little bit further with that Bronze Beauty shade. I don't know, it called to me. It just, I don't know how else to explain it except that it called to me. Anyway, so I see this guy the second time, right? And he's like, does more physical examination, asks me how I'm feeling. I'm like, I mean, I feel fine, right? I do get fatigued a lot, but I feel fine otherwise. And so he's like, we're gonna send you for some more testing. As if 2 tests in the span of, meanwhile, seeing a rheumatologist is stressful. Like, my appointment, first of all, was maybe 3 or 4 months later. The initial appointment, right? And then the second appointment was 2 months apart. So now months are going by and I'm left untreated. And so I go back and he sends me for another testing. But then he tells me to tell his assistant to book me in as quickly as possible. Because he's like at this point trying to like figure out why someone, I think I was 25 at the time, why someone who's 25 years old has lupus. Let's go back in with the shade glow, like over the middle again. He sends me for more testing and everything's the same, you know. He basically at this point sees me and breaks the news down to me and tells me that he believes that I have dermatomyositis, but I definitely present for lupus. Now, I was supposed to go for a myositis test, and I did eventually, but myositis tests aren't covered under OHIP. So I had to pay $140 out of pocket to get that test done. So I am going into my inner tear dot with the shade. I don't even know. I need to use the paper. It's a Morphe palette as well. It's the James Charles one. I'm gonna probably use the So Good and Ring Light shade mixed together. And I'm literally like dipping my brush into both equal amount of time. And then just going in there and just tapping. I think I picked up more of the ring light shade, which wasn't the goal. I was hoping that the glisten of the So Good shade will take over, but I guess not. Anyway, did that pick up? It picked up a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm not going to use any of the colors I use on my top lid for my bottom lid. I am going into my bottom lash line with the shade T from the James Charles palette. Anyway, so the rheumatologist determines that I do in fact have 2 autoimmune diseases at this point. So imagine living with lupus, then imagine having both. So what is dermatomyositis? Dermatomyositis is a rare disease that causes muscle weakness and skin rash. Symptoms include a red or purple rash on sun-exposed skin and eyelids, calcium deposits under the skin, muscle weakness, and trouble talking or swallowing. There is no cure, but treatment is done to reduce the symptoms. And this is by the hopkinsmedicine.org. So it's pretty much a trusted source. The cause of dermatomyositis is unknown. What is lupus? Lupus is a disease that occurs when your body's immune system attacks your own tissues and organs. Inflammation caused by lupus can affect many different body systems, including your joints, skin, kidneys, blood cells, brain, heart, and lungs. With close follow-up and treatment, 80 to 90% of people with lupus can expect to live a normal lifespan. Now you know how it's affecting. Even just thinking about it is affecting me the wrong way. What were my symptoms? My symptoms primarily were weakness and I want to say fatigue, but that's not what it was. It wasn't fatigue. I think I'm tired, but I think I'm just weak is the word. It still happens till this day, by the way. So with the same shade T, I'm going into my liner part of my top eyelid, of my upper lid, top eyelid. What the is that? Anyway, the liner part of my top, I'm about to say it again. You know what? I'm just gonna line my eyes. That's simple. That's easy. At this time, the doctor is sort of convinced that I have lupus dermatomyositis, and so he's now thinking, why do you have it? It presents more in cancer patients and older people. I'm going in with the Huda Beauty Full Filter Concealer, which is very mattifying. Again, I was a matte girl. In the shade Toasted Almond. So back to my doctor. So he was saying that it should have presented itself at a different stage in my life. Anyway, if you know about lupus or dermatomyositis, then you'll know that sometimes the treatments can be way worse than the symptom for some people. So some people don't have it as bad as others, and some people have it way worse than others. I'm gonna go in with a little bit more concealer for my forehead. I thought that was gonna be enough, but on my chin there is some stain there, so we're just gonna leave that there. So I'm going in with my favorite bronzer in the whole world, and it's the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer. Yeah, so he's now thinking, okay, so what kind of treatments, because she doesn't present bad symptoms, and I was presenting with fatigue. So imagine I'm having physical symptoms and also fatigue and weakness. It got worse over time, but those aren't bad. I promise you, those aren't the worst. So he ends up treating me with Plaquenil, which is obviously not an over-the-counter medication, right? And he just casually says it. I'm gonna give you 200 tablets of Plaquenil at a time. I'm 200? Is it that bad? That was serious in my head. I started to take it more seriously at that point. So he tells me that I need to see an optometrist before I start taking the medication, and make sure that I get my eyes checked every 2 months. If you start to feel weird in your eyes, then just discontinue and maybe recontinue in a few weeks. That's exactly what happened. 2 months into taking Placanil, I wouldn't be able to sit and do a YouTube video because it required a lot of lights, right? So I would like be hurt, like my eyes, it would instantly feel like there was like, you know, when you shut your eyes for a really long time but you're not asleep but you're just shutting your eyes, that like initial vision you get like when you open your eyes, that's almost like grayish almost, that was permanent for me. You can only imagine how scared I was. That was permanent for me, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna push through it. I should have seen an optometrist or, you know, but I didn't. um I don't want to cry. I honestly don't want to cry, but that was a very hard time for me. I'm now focused on treating the rash on my knuckles. I've tried everything and it, you know, this, my thumb stopped swelling. These two fingers aren't swollen anymore. I'm also working on my diet, which is why you probably heard in my previous video, and maybe you will hear a lot, that I'm trying to lose weight, because I found that when I was eating healthier, I felt better internally and my skin got better. The entire 2021 and 2022, I did a lot of naturopathy. I was in and out of naturopathy clinics. I would take vitamin B12 injections. I would take vitamin C IVs. There's some cocktails that had like B12, C, glutathione, NAC, anything for like strength and immune and like just skin vitality altogether. I did that. I did all of that. I've been off naturopathy now for maybe 7, 8 months. And I do see a difference. And I'm not baking or anything. I literally put it on and then blending it in. That is the story of basically, I guess you would say, why I left YouTube. So, blush, my favorite part. I started doing something where I like use lipstick for blush. So I'm gonna use the Fenty Beauty Mademoiselle and the Morphe Soul Matte lipstick in First Kiss, as well as the Sephora lipstick. Ooh, this is almost smudged. It's a Sephora lipstick in the shade 92. I'm not too sure what the type is. It's been a long time since I bought it. But it's a Sephora one, so these are what I'm using for blush. Again, trust the process, guys. So my reasoning is, I love how pigmented the Sephora one is, but I don't like the color. And I don't have it in a color that's close to like a burnt orange or, yeah, orangey shade. And I love how this is like a brownish almost. And this is like a red to sort of like act as an in-between that tailors these two colors together. I've never tried it before, but you're gonna try it with me. Let's get into it. This is gonna be epic. Okay, so we're gonna repeat the same thing here. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're gonna go in with the Soul Mattes. I think it's gonna come out great actually. This is where it gets dicey because the Fenty Beauty one, you know, it's a cream lipstick. Okay. So I'm gonna do more blending off camera, but I'm also gonna do my lashes and mascara, and then I'll come back for lipstick. For a highlighter, I don't know if you remember Becca Cosmetics. They used to have like, they were so popular at some point. And I'm gonna use the Shimmering Skin Perfector Press in the color Chocolate Geode. So that's what I'm gonna use for the base. And at the top, I'm gonna use the NYX Duochromatic Illuminating Powder Highlighter in the shade Synthetica. Now I'm thinking of using this Fenty Beauty Cream lip gloss in the shade Cookie Jar. I don't know. Ooh, brown is so hot. Ooh, I love this so much, but it's too bold, so we're gonna dim it down. We are going with that Sephora shade. It's the Cream Lip Stain by Sephora. I'm not going for this type of ombre, so I'm gonna blend it more together. I think I'm pretty okay with the look right now. I was gonna add concealer in the middle because I wasn't sure the Sephora shade was gonna show as much. I mean, I could still do it, but I stand the risk of ruining it, so what to do? Let's do it. Now I'm using the same concealer that I used in my under eye in the middle of my lip. Like I said, it was either going to be a hit or a miss, and it's a hit. Okay? Ooh, lipstick really ties a look in together, because what is this? This is nice. I really, really like this. I think I did a pretty good job. So for this outfit, I feel like you could go either way. You could do like a little jewelry, you know, just a watch and a bracelet, and you'll pretty much be fine. It's very like very sultry, very, I was, you know, want your eyes to be on me type of dress, and I like how long it is. I would pretty much wear this with gold heels, and that's it. I stacked on 3 sets of jewelry, and then a bigger earring, same necklace, same wristwatch, but the dress,